Hello and welcome to a new episode how to learn JavaScript from beginner to advanced. Today I would like to learn you about how to using getElementById and querySelector or querySelector all for element selection in JavaScript. We will pass through all this method and at the end of this tutorial you can to select what element do you want from your document object model. Okay, for your HTML. No, okay, here I have a simple HTML. This is my HTML with a div. This is div with id gallery, and inside this div I have also 4 images. Do you see the images in the right side with these birds? Under below this div with image I have another div with a text document get element by id, because here is I manipulate this document element by id using method get element by id. And also I have a button with toggle. When I click this button all modification all changes will be displayed from my JavaScript. Okay, also inside this div I have an heading 1 with title gallery or birds gallery. Okay, let's see the HTML code. But our title for today is how to use this getElementById and querySelector or querySelector all for selecting element from DOM. No, okay, I have in this HTML this method. Here I create a variable with document getElementById div id. This variable use this document getElementById for select to my DOM the element with this div id. This element is div id, in my case is this. Okay, after I want to select also this is not necessary, is the same. I select with the document getElementById element with id gallery, this id. Do you see here id gallery with document getElementById. After this I want to select all images from this div gallery, but it is possible. Let's see. Firstly we should think how to do this approach. Firstly I create here a variable images for selecting all images. I use this querySelector all images. But what I write here, I write I want to select from div display bird div, from this variable, from gallery, all element that are this tag image with selector image, and this will select all images from my div with id gallery. If I will use just document getElementById, will select all from my DOM but here I put just this variable because I would like to select just from my div, from this div, not from all DOM, and that is the reason for I put just display bar div and not document get element document point query selector. Okay, I select all images, but now should to display them, and for this I have more just one, should to iterate through them, and I iterate here with this for each. You can iterate very easily with for each. Imagine you have here a node in this div, you have a node and inside you have 4 images. You should to loop through it using for each and looping through them. The second, I have here looping through them images because my variable is images. I select all element for this div with tag image. After I looping through them like an array, because is an array of element you can access with square brackets if you want. You will see later. Okay, and images that for each I put here an index because I like to put an ID later here, and I want to see image plus index, in my case plus 0. I console.log here because I want to see the IDs. If I click the second, here you see my IDs. Okay, let's back output here. Also you can use a document query selector for select just one element. I select here just one element, the element with ID image 0, and here the element with ID image 1. When you use when you use query selector, you can put like here, or query selector, you can put variable, you can put the div where you want to looking for an element. But if you use getElementById, it's mandatory to put document, because don't allow to put just one variable. I looking for element here in this variable, no display bar div. But if I put getElementById instead query selector all, is not is forbidden, and should to put instead display bar div, should to put document, put getElementById. Okay, getElementById is not a good idea to using a good approach, a syntactic sugar, and a good way for select an element. It's with query selector. Query selector is the best practice for selecting an element, because you see here you can select element from a div, large div, for example, not just for DOM, for document model, object model from HTML, entire HTML. Okay. Also you can put with query selector what selector do you have in document object model, no? If you want to select just element with tag, I don't know, heading 1, you can put this document query selector heading 1, or ID, I don't know, image 0, you can put query selector image 0. Good. So far you should to understand the good practice is to use document query selector. Okay. If you have more element, query selector all this. Okay. Now I have here a toggle button who modify the element, who hide hidden, we put hidden hide the element when I click, and when I click again will appear. Here is my function. I have an event listener to this toggle button. When I click it, I iterate through all this picture, and I create some changes at these pictures. For example, I have here a condition: if all pictures are hidden and my attribute still dot display is known, that means all pictures are doesn't display on my desktop. In this case I want to display them. Also I want to put this div, document getElementById div, with background red. When I click, I want to display none all pictures, to make to disappear all pictures. Also div id variable, I want to put his background with green. Div id variable, div id variable div id is this, no, will be with green, not with red. Also first image, for first image I put still, I change the style with a border blue, and for second with a border yellow. No, first image from div, I select it with query selector. First image from div, I use query selector id image 0, and second image from div I use query selector image 1. First will be with border blue and second yellow. Okay, let's see. I click the button. When I click the button, I have toggle button that have add event listener. I click, and this function will be run. In my first line I have, if all images are known, I don't have in my app images are the array is empty. When the toggle I put, and again, do you see here I have first I am in else, and I have with blue first image, with yellow second, and also this is with red. I click, and I have div id variable with green. Okay, let's see again. I have this picture, toggle images, toggle button, the condition. If I don't have image on the screen, display it. Now I have image on the screen, and when I click will run this part of code, because now I have image style display is blocked in this moment for me, because I have a picture on the screen. And in this case I will run else and will appear none, all picture will disappear. Also this div become green because change his background. First image, this image will be with the border blue, and second with yellow. I will click and I will run else part of my code, if else, no. But I didn't see because my picture are disappear, and I don't see this part. When I click again, I am with none. I am in this part of code. When I click, all images will be appear, and you see the modify, the changes. If are none. That was all for today. Don't forget to use document query selector, because it's a good practice, and document query selector all. Document get element by ID should use just occasionally. All the best.